Welcome to the second webinar in the four-part series Essential Skills in the Workplace. These webinars will guide you in implementing essential skills training programs in your workplace. The series provides you with all the information and tools you will need to begin an essential skills training program. The webinars provide a step-by-step process from a workplace needs assessment to program evaluation. Webinar 1 provides an overview of essential skills and using a case study illustrates the benefits of building the essential skills proficiency levels of all apprentices and employees. Webinar 2 describes how to identify your organization's essential skills needs and those of individual employees and apprentices. Webinar 3 suggests essential skills training and other learning activities. Webinar 4 discusses how to get started and looks at the essential skills tools and resources available to support you. Essential skills are the skills that everyone needs to work, to learn, and to live in our society, and are the foundation for learning other skills. 9 such skills have been identified: reading, document use, writing, numeracy, oral communication, thinking, working with others, computer use, and continuous learning. Webinar 2 describes what is involved in a process called a workplace needs assessment. The process helps to identify potential performance issues, skill strengths, and gaps in your organization and of apprentices and employee groups, and begins to reveal potential training opportunities. The presentation also looks at how to do individual training needs analysis to identify specific individual skill strengths and gaps. The webinar builds on information found in HRSDC's guide, Taking Action, a guide integrating essential skills training into the workplace. Its web location is noted on the slide. An essential skills workplace needs assessment doesn't have to be time-consuming or complicated. A needs assessment can be comprehensive or it can be quick and targeted. Whether yours is a large organization or a small one, this webinar will help you identify performance issues, skill gaps, and potential areas for training. The two processes have a number of side benefits. It helps to build support for the implementation of essential skills training. It demonstrates that the focus is on building people's strengths rather than highlighting their deficits. It brings to light people's interests and ideas, their goals, and the realities of their everyday work life. It helps to decide what training programs to offer and how to offer them. It identifies opportunities for success and solutions for barriers. Investing in essential skills programs can also lead to many long-term organizational benefits. Reported outcomes include increased productivity and improved employee morale and safety. The bottom line? Essential skills training can have a strong, positive effect on your organization and on individual employees. A workplace needs assessment is the first step in developing an essential skills training strategy. Its purpose is twofold: to determine which gaps in the essential skills are affecting your organization's performance and to identify which skills need upgrading. The assessment gathers information on organizational and individual skill strengths and gaps, and training needs and priorities. Now let's look at what an essential skills workplace needs assessment involves. As we suggested on the previous slide, the first step is to identify performance problems, and the second is to find out what skills are required for successful performance. The gaps between the skills needed and the skills on hand indicate where training programs might be needed. For performance problems, here are a few strategies you might use. You can observe employees and apprentices in the workplace. This gives you an opportunity to see problems that might be related to essential skills issues. For example, repeated mistakes, not finishing tasks, safety incidents, and poor customer service could all be linked to essential skills issues. Secondly, you can get feedback from employees, apprentices, supervisors, and managers about performance problems using surveys and questionnaires. We will examine some sample surveys later in the webinar. Lastly, if some training is offered in your workplace, ask the trainers whether they have encountered problems that could be related to essential skills issues. For example, they might have noticed that employees struggle to read and understand course material. Let's take a few minutes to review the survey tools that are available to identify performance problems in the workplace. A number of them are on HRSDC's Essential Skills website at the address noted on the slide. It is critically important that all assessment results be used solely to identify training priorities. You must ensure that individual results remain confidential. Use and share only aggregate results. HRSDC's Essential Skills Assessment for Organizations is a good place to begin. It helps you to examine the current proficiency levels of essential skills within your organization or in specific apprenticeship programs. This tool covers all 9 essential skills. We would suggest you completing at a minimum reading, writing, document use, numeracy, computer and oral communication. They do not have to be done at once, but rather over time. To illustrate how to use the tool, let's look at the Essential Skills Assessment for Reading. You can see that there are lists of assessment statements related to a variety of reading tasks. On further inspection, you will notice that these tasks are listed in order of increasing difficulty. The purpose of this review is to identify the tasks employees are able to perform and those they are unable to perform. When required tasks cannot be performed, you have identified a training opportunity. Ask managers, supervisors, and trainers to complete the assessment. They will have valuable insight into the current levels of proficiency of their apprentices and employees. Consider asking apprentices and journey persons to complete the same exercise. Use all the results to identify training opportunities. Once you have noted what tasks can be completed, the survey asks you to reflect on the impact of the results. If you state that employees and apprentices cannot perform specific tasks, how does that impact productivity, service quality, workplace safety? And what is the resulting impact on performance? Next, consider the level of impact. The Essential Skills Assessment identifies potential performance problems in your workplace and provides you with a business case for establishing training programs and activities to address the problems. This assessment tool covers all 9 essential skills. We invite you to review each of them to gain a better understanding of how they are defined and what kind of tasks they involve. An additional HRSDC tool you can use to identify performance problems in the workplace is the Workplace Checkup. It's designed to help employers gather employee and apprentice feedback on essential skills. The results provide employers with a better understanding of the training needs of their organization. The Workplace Checkup tool asks employees and apprentices about essential skills in their jobs. They indicate which of them they feel are most important to their jobs, those they need training in, and answer other questions about current training. The purpose of the checkup is to uncover training that employees and apprentices think is needed. Comparing results to those generated by other assessment tools will clarify and confirm opportunities for training. As mentioned earlier, only aggregate results should be used and shared. Individual results remain confidential. The sole purpose of the checkup tool is to identify training priorities. A third workplace assessment tool is the Workplace Survey. It helps employers to identify areas of strength as well as potential essential skills gaps where training might be beneficial. This survey isn't designed to assess individuals. Respondents are managers and supervisors who are asked to think instead about groups of apprentices or employees in a department. The Workplace Survey provides a series of statements that are related to managers' and supervisors' perceptions of apprentices and employees' comfort levels doing tasks associated with 9 essential skills. For example, the statement, "Employees are comfortable receiving written instructions," is included in the reading section of the survey. Respondents select from a 4-point scale ranging from strongly disagree, 1, to strongly agree, 4. Once completed, total the scores. A low score, 15 and under, may indicate a need to improve certain essential skills in the workplace. To get an overall and more accurate reflection of essential skills gaps and training opportunities, you can compare results of those who complete the survey and with the collective results from other assessment tools. If some statements are not applicable to your organization, you can replace them with any of the additional statements provided at the end of each section, or develop new statements that better reflect your organization. Now that you have identified potential performance problems in the workplace, the next step is to identify the essential skills required in the workplace. This involves identifying the essential skills that are used in jobs in your workplace, learning about the essential skills required for different occupations, and conducting formal or informal surveys with employees, apprentices, supervisors, and managers to determine key tasks for jobs. To identify gaps in skills, you first need to know what skills are needed. Here are a few strategies to identify what skills are required in the workplace. You can look at internal job descriptions to find out what skills are specified. You can review essential skills profiles on the HRSDC website to find out what essential skills are required for the occupations in your workplace. Finally, you can conduct surveys with employees, apprentices, supervisors, and managers to determine the skills they believe are required for jobs. These surveys can be informal or formal. When you have an idea of performance problems and the skills required by the organization, you begin to get a sense of the training opportunities and priorities. HRSDC's Office of Literacy and Essential Skills has developed a number of tools to describe the essential skills requirements for various trades, the most important of which is the Essential Skills Profile. The essential skills outlined in the Essential Skills Profiles for trades can be used as benchmarks to compare with the skills employees and apprentices currently have. You can then design a training program to address the skill gaps you discover. Here we see reading tasks required by carpenters. This slide demonstrates the document use tasks required by carpenters. Profiles for the trades are found on the HRSDC website at the location noted on the slide. Now that you have an understanding of the required essential skills levels for targeted trades, you can use this knowledge to assess individuals to determine whether they have the skills required to perform successfully. This is done through an individual training needs analysis. An analysis of individual training needs helps apprentices and employees identify the skills they need to develop, but just as importantly, it allows them to see the skills they already possess. When a positive and supportive environment is created for the assessment, apprentices and employees are more likely to participate in learning opportunities. It is important that they can examine their own strengths and build self-confidence and explore options for reaching their goals. Through this process of exploration, apprentices and employees are in a better position to make informed decisions about their next steps, which can include both essential skills upgrading and job skills training. Individual training needs analysis is a good way to identify skill areas that are strong and those that require improvement. The process begins by comparing an individual's skills to those required by the job. This uncovers any gaps that require upgrading. Next, the apprentice's employees' long-term goals are explored. With these two pieces of information in hand, a customized training plan can be developed. The analysis serves as the basis for developing individual training plans, and by aggregating the results of individual training plan analysis, you can develop a program to improve the overall performance level of specific essential skills in the organization. This diagram illustrates that the Essential Skills Profile is the core of individual training analysis. It is the benchmark for measuring apprentices' and employees' strengths and skill gaps for current or prospective roles. It can be the foundation for personal development plans and targeted training. Individual gaps can be consolidated into group reports upon which decisions can be made about training and other strategies that grow skills and decrease skill gaps. A number of essential skills tools are available to support the analysis of individual skills. We recommend that you seek the advice of an essential skills expert to determine which tools would be most useful for your specific situation. However, the self-assessment tools developed by HRSDC at the website noted here are helpful. They will assist apprentices and employees to reflect on where their skills are strong and where they would like to see improvement. Here we will look briefly at two of them. the Reading Self-Assessment Tool, and the Reading Indicator, a guide for learners. The Reading Self-Assessment is one of the tools you will find on the site. Individuals are first asked to decide how well they think they can do specific tasks. Can they do it somewhat, or are they unable to do it? The second page of the self-assessment asks respondents to list tasks they felt confident about and those for which they would like to improve their ability. Results are used to create a personal development plan and are aggregated to identify group strengths and areas for training. When results are compared with the tasks required for performing the work, it is easy to identify areas for improvement. The Reading Indicator is one of several indicator tools found on HRSDC's Essential Skills site. Others are available for numeracy and document use. As the name implies, they are designed to give an indication of essential skills levels. The indicator is not an assessment tool. It is a training tool that helps you identify skills that may require upgrading. Using this tool allows employers to obtain useful information about the skills apprentices and employees bring to the workplace, identify current apprentices and employees' training needs, and improve workplace training by targeting improvement in specific skill areas. As you can see, skill levels are identified through answers to questions. This is an example of a Level 2 reading task from the Reading Indicator. The questions mirror real workplace tasks from a variety of occupations, but do not require specialized knowledge to be answered correctly. But that said, it is important to remember the indicator tool is just that, and it is to identify training opportunities and not a person's abilities. And a quick reminder that individual results should always be kept confidential. Regardless of the tools you use, the success of individual training analysis lies in ensuring a proper process. Here are key points to keep in mind. Before having apprentices and employees complete the selected tools, explain the goals, objectives, and purpose of essential skills training analysis and programs. It is only to develop training priorities by identifying skills, strengths, and gaps. Explain how information will be used. It will remain confidential, and only aggregated results will be used. Once they have completed the training analysis, ask for any further questions or comments. Finally, reassure them again of the confidentiality of individual responses. Now that you have gathered the necessary information, you can begin to look at training and learning opportunities. By using the HRSDC Essential Skills Assessment for organizations, you've identified a performance problem. For example, that Section A or Department B is having trouble completing work orders on a consistent basis, and many apprentices and employees need additional supervision and instruction to complete tasks, or is having trouble following written instructions and procedures on a consistent basis. Next, you were able to link the performance problem with specific essential skills by examining aggregate results of self-assessment and skill indicator tools completed by the department's apprentices and employees. The results indicated that apprentices and employees had difficulty completing work orders, document use and writing, and that they sometimes had trouble following written instructions and procedures, reading, and possibly numeracy. Your assessment may have also identified whether the performance issue is at an individual or group level. All of this information can be used in determining training requirements and for whom. This simple table from the Taking Action Guide mentioned earlier in the presentation can be used to track the essential skills issues identified through job site observations and assessments. This template can be used to identify your training goals, needs, and priorities. It is also available in the Taking Action Guide. A well-considered project helps to coordinate effort, prevent budget and schedule overruns, and to ensure appropriate use of resources. Consultation, communication, appropriate policies, and training are important success factors. Employers who have undertaken essential skills initiatives have identified additional success factors. They include workplace champions with credibility and power to influence, perceived need for change from senior leaders, involvement of all stakeholders at all stages, sustained momentum, appropriate training for all involved, appropriate funding, both financial and human resources, and a full understanding of assessment objectives and process by the people involved. This completes Webinar 2 about Workplace Needs Assessment and Individual Training Needs Analysis. The third webinar in the series discusses the identification of training programs and activities and how to do program evaluation. Thank you for being with us for this presentation. We hope you have found the information valuable. For more information on implementing essential skills in your organization, please contact Danielle Mathusik.